Welcome back, Spartans, to the second and final part of this mini-series on AI and cybersecurity. In this video, I will finally answer the question, will AI take my job? Let's begin. Now let's talk about the future of AI and cybersecurity. And if there is something that I've learned over the years is that if you are wrong about your prediction, no one cares because everyone is trying to predict the future. But if you are right, you are a genius. And since I'm something of a scientist myself, I couldn't wrap up this video without sharing some thoughts on where cybersecurity is headed with AI in the mix. The first prediction is that we are going to see one or more fields that mix cybersecurity and data science. In the past, companies and tech folks could sometimes ignore security, but with AI, that is not the case anymore. Given the trust that people put on AI models, a successful attack against one of these can have catastrophic consequences. Think about stolen models, data breaches, or even AI-driven decisions being hijacked. If AI turns into a go-to source of truth, this gets even scarier. The second prediction is that we are going to see way more attacks using AI, especially generative AI, with phishing, propaganda, automated offensive security, and disinformation campaigns. Years ago, when the first pieces of malware started appearing, they were quite loud and obvious. Over time, attackers got smarter and started using stealthy tactics like lolbeans, fileless malware, and social engineering to dodge antivirus and detection tools. The next evolution of malware will target people. While classic malware will still be used to get foothold on machines and handle the basics like reconnaissance and exfiltration of data, the future is about using AI to manipulate crowd psychology, because it's a lot easier to manipulate a group of people with shared beliefs or values than to trick a single person. Traditional tools like firewalls or access controls cannot stop the spread of misinformation or mass manipulation. So unless we resort to heavy-handed stuff like censorship, we will need new ways to keep these threats at bay. AI is going to have the same problems as we saw with cloud. People just don't understand it well enough, which means dangerous default settings, backdoored models, and bad data are real risks. We are going to learn what works and what doesn't through trial and error. Regulation and audits are a must if we want to keep AI secure. We are going to keep moving away from rigid detection rules and simplistic heuristics. Detections are going to become way more nuanced and adaptable to our constantly changing threat landscape. This has been happening over the years. Remember when antivirus used to detect malware solely based on hashing, but it is going to become even more common and extend far beyond just malware analysis, touching every aspect of blue team operations. The cybersecurity fields that we know today are going to get even more abstracted and interconnected, and we will see a new wave of professionals that is way more adaptable than the ones we have right now. Just like how sysadmins and database experts evolved into today's DevOps roles. The jacks of all trades I've talked about at length in other videos will become the standard, not the exception. During the fireside chat, someone asked about the impact of quantum computing in AI and cybersecurity, and I have to admit that at the time I didn't know exactly what to answer. After giving it some thought, I have realized that it will not change things as much as people think. It is true that quantum computing will allow us to train models much faster, but the current issues with AI are not really about hardware speed. They are about the quality of the data and algorithms that still struggle with ambiguity and complex data problems. But if we assume AI eventually reaches a point of making reliable decisions and taking autonomous actions, it will completely flip how we think about cybersecurity, especially with the rise of what I call autonomous agents. Now, from an attacker's perspective, imagine autonomous agents, which are way more advanced versions of the bots that we have today, crawling the web and executing full chains of compromise. Think back to the Lockheed Martin's cyber kill chain I've talked about before. These autonomous agents would start with the basic reconnaissance and go all the way to the point of data exfiltration or even worse. They would be able to learn, adapt, and emulate a skilled hacker as they gather intel on their target's infrastructure. Right now, AI models can only handle bits and pieces of the cyber kill chain, but not the whole thing. As you can imagine, being stealthy is a big part of hacking. An AI needs to learn the specifics of a target's infrastructure through passive and active reconnaissance, which I have broken down in a past video. The tricky part here is that active reconnaissance can be quite noisy, which can trigger alerts and blocks on the side of the defenders. This means that the AI would have to adapt and go quiet as a seasoned hacker would. From an attacker's perspective, I believe that the future is quite utopian, But from the defender's perspective, I feel that the future is much more achievable. I feel that security and compliance are going to move away from rigid and one-size-fits-all rules to something more flexible, aware, and ever evolving, kind of like how companies and people operate today. Right now, we have a set of standards and best practices established by the industry and regulators, with auditors responsible for vouching for companies' compliance. If we are honest, for most companies, these are no more than a set of checkboxes, which happen to strengthen their security posture. The problem is that these standards act as if all companies are the same, which isn't true. Companies change all the time. They adjust their goals, services, and the way they run to stay competitive. The current approach to security and compliance doesn't fit well with that change because these are mostly static, with a bit of automation and manual work here and there. However, there is no real-time auditing and adaptation. Security should be built into the DNA of every company. Looking ahead, and thanks to AI, security and compliance will grow and change along with companies. Picture a future where each company has its own AI agent that knows what regulators expect and what are the top practices in its industry. This AI would understand the rules, the types of attacks and attackers out there, their goals, and every detail about the company, like whom reports to whom, and even the personalities of its employees. And this is quite useful for insider threats. It would be able to estimate risks and potential financial losses. This AI agent would handle security measures and controls to keep regulators happy, the company safe and profitable, and the employees content without having to deal with restrictive security rules. It's like security as a service on steroids. And the human regulators and auditors would still be relevant to make sure that the AI is doing its job right. And we have reached the million-dollar question. Does it make sense to pursue cybersecurity if AI might replace us? Whether or not this happens will depend on how advanced AI becomes over the next few years and which new challenges will arise as a result. As I mentioned in my video, Avoiding the Experts Trap, technology often solves one problem only to reveal another issue that wasn't even considered before. I have emphasized this since the start of this channel, focusing on mastering the fundamentals and developing a broad range of knowledge. This combination will make you resilient and adaptable in the face of change. I have several videos on these topics, but some of the most crucial ones are my mini-series on how to pick a university degree, how to learn cybersecurity the right way, and my other mini-series on acing cybersecurity job interviews. Even if direct competition with AI becomes a challenge, your best strategy is to elevate yourself to the same level by being versatile and adaptable. I don't believe that many roles in cybersecurity can be fully replaced with AI, but a lot of tasks will be simplified and folded into broader functions. Starting with SecOps and more specifically with level 1 SOC analysts, these are most likely going to be replaced because their main job is basic triage and escalation to more specialized analysts. When I worked at FireEye, even the most junior analysts had forensic skills and were able to write basic compromise reports. However, in some places, level 1 SOC analysts are essentially button pushers. And if you are a button pusher, you are going to be replaced. The second area is malware analysis. And here I feel that the less specialized malware analysts and reverse engineers are also going to be replaced. The reason for this is that these days we have very good malware analysis engines, sandboxes, and DDRs that are able to dissect and investigate malware. Outside of AV vendors and MSSPs, these roles are already not in high demand, which means that there will be even more pressure on these professionals to upskill, making the market even more competitive. Another area that I feel that will suffer with AI is vulnerability and patch management. While there will still be room for experienced professionals in this field, AI will most likely be able to prioritize and patch vulnerabilities with enough context. Besides, these roles tend to be combined into broader functions such as security and cloud security engineering. Vulnerability research is similar to malware analysis and malware research in the sense that AI will handle much of the low-hanging fruit. As a result, once more, the market will become much more competitive and researchers will need to have deeper expertise to stand out. Now, these are the areas that I feel that will suffer with AI, but there are other areas that I feel that are more resilient to the change. The first one is pen testing and red teaming. While basic pen testing and red teaming can be definitely automated, a proper offensive security exercise still requires skilled people. This could change if AI gets advanced enough, but for now, and for the next couple of years, human expertise is still key. The second area is governance, risk, and compliance, because this area is heavily people-focused and can only be partially automated. As an example, running due diligence checks can definitely be automated by AI. However, bigger decisions will still need human touch, so it is not likely to be fully replaced. Forensics is another area where AI can definitely automate the basic tasks such as collection of data, as well as processing and aggregation, but proper analysis of a data especially with, or even spark political tensions. If AI models get good enough to the point where they can process all the context accurately, less experienced threat intelligence professionals will be replaced, leaving room for only the top experts. And this once more is quite similar to malware analysis and vulnerability research. Alternatively, threat intelligence might just get merged into a broader field like malware analysis or threat research. This is already happening in some companies since, like with malware analysis, usually only MSSPs or AV vendors hire for these roles. And in doubt, if you are wondering, will I be replaced? Ask yourself these two questions. Does my job involve critical thinking? Or am I just following a playbook? And the second question is, have I ever used my experience and intuition to solve problems that are not covered by a playbook? And with these two videos, I hope I managed to address the fear and confusion surrounding AI in cybersecurity. While AI has definitely changed how we see and use tech, we can't ignore that the future of cybersecurity and the job market comes with plenty of challenges. That said, I'm still confident that AI will continue to enhance our skills and performance by automating routine tasks and creating a whole new world of possibilities. Until next time, stay safe, stay paranoid.